It's Friday then. Saturday, Sunday. It's Friday. Happy Friday, people.
Hello.
How you guys doing?
Welcome.
Ooh, today is going to be pretty cool.
It is. I like this topic.
Today we're talking about some stuff that really kind of gets everybody through some hard times.
Yep.
Or good times, or bad times, or happy times or sad times. Any kind of times.
Whatever it is, this is something that you have throughout your whole entire lifetime, and that is music. Yes.
Do us a favor, guys. Hit that like button.
And subscribe.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Listen, man, music. Oh, man, this is such an awesome topic because
I love music. Hence why I wore my Pink Floyd shirt.
Oh, Pink Floyd. Oh
my
fucking
God.
amazing group of talented musicians.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, growing up, so like I think it'd be kind of cool, like to kind of I think we've talked about it, but I don't really remember like what music you grew up with, and like I think it'd be interesting to see if we listened to the same music when we were like teenagers and stuff. And obviously, you know what I listen to now, but Pink Floyd, like growing up, I grew up in such a diverse genre of music. My dad listened to everything. I mean, he listened to like Spanish music with Hector Lavoe, Rudy Colon. He listened to Metallica.
Love Metallica. Fucking love Metallica.
You know, I listened to Michael Jackson. There was everything. Paula Abdul.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like I totally remember.
She was so hot back then.
Watching her videos on MTV. Yeah, when they actually played. Dog? Oh no, I mean she's so underrated, but yeah, cold-hearted, boy.
Is that what you're listening to?
I remember seeing the video to that, and God, there's so many. But yeah, we listened to rock, Black Sabbath. We listened to Bon Jovi. There was just so many like pieces of music. So I think that I grew up with a great appreciation of different kinds of music, both English and Spanish. What about you?
Oh God, same thing. It was a little different just because most of my family really didn't listen to some of the stuff that like I listened to. Mm-hmm. In fact, they were like, "Oh, like you listen to that?
No.
Like, what do you mean? What do you mean you like rock music and alternative pop?" And I was like, "Yeah, like." I could listen to gangster rap and freestyle music, and so my aunt Anna was a DJ. Mm-hmm. So whenever my uncle would come down to visit my grandma, my aunt has this amazing wall of like vinyl records, and she still has like her old like Genesis turntables and stuff, like her big like studio like speakers. So when my uncle would come down. He would grab the records and, they would always play music. My aunt grew up on like Michael Jackson. I think she's like, between you and her, I don't know who's like the bigger fan.
I mean,
but she has like thousands of records. So my uncle would, spin them and they would go back through like music. And, like my mom grew up on, God, like everything. Like freestyle and hip hop and like all of that good stuff just to dance and like Spanish music. So I appreciated all genres of music with a few exceptions. As I got older, I appreciated things like jazz and like classical music, just because like I always had a fascination with the piano. So like I was like, I really want to learn how to play the piano. So that's actually still one of my life goals. So that's on the bucket list, to learn how to play the piano. And again, like it's weird because like on Mondays, like I want to listen to fucking gangster rap, right?
Oh yeah,
But Tuesday, I was like, I want to listen to some Chopin or some Beethoven, and they were like, what the fuck just happened? And then Wednesday is like, I want to listen to some Black Sabbath or some fucking Metallica.
Yeah.
Or, then Thursday came and I was like, no, I really want to listen to this like pop alternative, like Matchbox 20 and like Third Eye Blind and, all like these like great 90s, like, alternative and like rock pop bands. Again, it was just very weird because like most of my friends would listen to like gangster rap. And, like, they'll be like, you got like a Chumbawamba CD? Like, who the fuck is that? Like what the fuck? But I was like, I really just enjoyed every single genre of music except for country. Like, I never got into country until now that I'm older because I got friends that like country, and it's not bad. Like, I just don't know of any country. Like, hey, let me put on Toby Keith.
I never got into country. I don't know why, and it was something that
but it's good music.
Yeah,
it is.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. It was just never my cup of tea.
Correct. I'm not like, gotta get that fresh ass Dixie Chick CD, son.
Oh my God, the Dixie Chicks. They were really popular when we were growing up. So
they made a lot of money.
Some of the music that I mentioned early on, that's like what I grew up on, and there's plenty of more out there.
Oh yeah.
Music, my dad listened to Motley Crue, all that kind of stuff. So I grew up listening to all of that and stuff. But as I got older, I started dipping into like other music. Like, me and my brother would listen to like early on hip hop. Like, you're talking about like Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre. Yeah. We grew up in the West Coast, so that's what you were going to hear. You were going to hear Tupac. You were going to hear all that stuff. That's right, yeah. And then, you tap into like, don't hate me, I wasn't like a big fan of Biggie, but you didn't really hear that much in Cali.
That was East Coast kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so you didn't hear that much. But as I grew older, like as a teenager, I started dipping into like pop music. I am one of those girls that liked NSYNC.
If you didn't like NSYNC, I would feel like there's a problem.
But there was like,
I liked NSYNC.
I don't know if you remember, but it was like the battle. Like, either you liked NSYNC
or the Backstreet Boys.
And I never liked the Backstreet Boys.
Backstreet Boys had some bangers, man. But,
they did, but
NSYNC was like, I think, just a way better band.
I think it was like Target and Walmart to me.
Correct.
And like, I picked Target.
Yeah. It was like, Target.
Oh my God.
So it's weird because like my stepdad listened to weird music too. Like,
okay.
Like he got me into like Depeche Mode.
Oh my God, Depeche Mode. Yes.
So like one of his like old time friends like came by the house when he found out where like he lived. Mm-hmm. Came like surprised him, and like he was weird, but I was like, oh man, this guy is so cool. He had like the vampire like Marilyn Manson contacts on, like long black hair, like just like dressed in goth.
Yeah.
And he came to visit one day, and we opened the door. And my mom's like, who is this? Like, and she like looks through like the peephole.
It's Alice Cooper.
No, like legit, like there's this guy and he has these vampire contacts, and fucking he's like through the peephole, and like my mom's like, oh my God, who the fuck is this? She's like, hey, like there's some weird guy.
I'm calling the police.
So my stepdad goes and he opens the door, like, yo, what the fuck you want? And then the guy's like, yo, like it's me. He's like, who? And he's like, like I don't know, God, like I forgot the guy's name, but whatever. But he was like, oh my God, dude, like I haven't seen you in like fucking forever. And my mom's like, what the fuck just happened? Like this dude's flicking his tongue and has vampire contacts, right? But like he came, and I was probably like 8 or 9 years old, and they were just exchanging stories like back in the days. I was like, oh man, these guys are really cool. And yeah, like he like had like his tongue pierced, and he stuck a toothpick through his tongue, and I was like, oh, that's the most amazing shit. But I don't know, like somehow they got into like old music, and then he's like, yo, like you remember like Depeche Mode? And then I was like, what is Depeche Mode?
Oh my God! And then you were introduced.
And then they were like, it's like music, but like these guys like don't curse, I was like, oh yeah, like whatever. But it was just like the interesting sounds and like the instruments and like the rhythms and like the melodies of like the old like songs that like they made. And then, I would, listen to the words, and I was like, this is actually really good music.
Yeah.
Then opened up more like just like ambient sounds like Enya and Enigma.
Oh my God. So my dad, actually, the first time I'd ever heard that was like my dad. My dad, you have very close similarities to my dad.
Know,
it's really weird. But my dad really, if there was ever a gift that he ever gave me, was to tap into different kinds of music. Enigma was great. Their first album was just, and my dad was really cool. Like when I hung out with him, and he's like, man, like, if you like took some LSD and like listened to this music,
Could only imagine.
you would listen to it in a whole different light. My dad was really honest about him having a really good youth.
He's got the greatest stories in the fucking world.
Oh yeah, my dad was just that person. Like he never wanted me to experience, you know, like drugs or anything like that. But you know, he was very open with me about that. But I could only imagine because listening to Enigma, just me listening to it was just like crazy.
It put you in like a trance, which is weird, like the sounds and
Yeah.
like the frequencies.
And I think they were so ahead of their time because the only way that I can compare them to now is like Odessa.
Oh yeah.
And Odessa is like a new group. You know, they've been around for a couple of years, but it's like the new generation. Enigma is like freaking 90s. I don't even think there was like really a market for them back then. Like you really had to like weird type of sounds and music to tap into them. So I think they were so far ahead of the game.
Yeah, like I did. They're like with their like Native American sounds.
Oh yeah,
like they're weird, like
and so relaxing.
Oh my God.
Like if you really want to like.
Right.
Go to sleep or just relax.
Correct.
You know what I mean? If you have maybe
Correct.
a panic attack or something and you're listening to it, like it puts you in a good mood.
It like music like that for me, like just takes you away from whatever it is that you're like in like that moment, and it just puts you in like a place where you're just like, oh man, like I'm in like the mountains, or you know, I'm in like the desert right now looking at like the stars, or you know, I'm
It's so weird because like as a kid, like Michael Jackson did that for me. Like,
Really?
you know, yeah, and I don't know why, but anybody that knows me from like childhood knows that like Michael Jackson to me was everything.
big Mike fan over here.
And
her and just
yes, I absolutely like Michael Jackson, love him. But as
like,
a
what
kid,
year did he burn his hair in the Pepsi commercial? 1972. Like what?
No,
Like,
not
how do you
70.
know that? I'm sorry, whatever. It's like 80.
81.
There you go. 81.
I think I don't know. For some reason, it was just like, you know, when I was a kid, I wasn't in the best situation sometimes at home, and you know, shit happens, and like I would just put my headphones on or just put on the cassette, and it was Michael Jackson, and he like transported me somewhere else. So music has this ability to like. And not cure things for you, but it definitely sets the mood for whatever is going on.
Absolutely.
So Michael Jackson did that for me, and I don't know why, because it's not really that type of music, but you know.
Yeah, that's
So it's really interesting. Yeah,
it's crazy how Mike was able to like stimulate like your.
Yeah, until this day, if I listen to a song from Michael Jackson, like it relaxes me or it transports me to a different.
What is that song? I need that shit on deck whenever you get out of your pocket.
You'll never know.
I'm starting to play that. I'll play I'll play every album he's ever had.
You'll never know. But yeah, but then as I got older, like I started listening to things like, you know, with my brother that my dad wouldn't listen to, like Run DMC.
Oh yeah.
I told you that story that like me and my brother watched them, and I'm like, we could be DJs, and we didn't understand that the vinyl that my dad had was not what they were using on the turntable. So we're doing it, and we're seeing these strips come out of the vinyl. And we're like, what the fuck is that? Whatever.
Destroy Bobby.
And we just understood that we're like destroying my dad's record, so we just put him back. And, you know, back then it was like those huge speakers.
Yeah,
like the middle part was just like everything, like the radio, cassette, CD. And then at the bottom it had like a room for like, you know, like a little area where you put your vinyls. Just put them right back in there and forget about it.
Never
so my dad wanted to listen to that particular vinyl. But yeah,
my fucking Pink Floyd CD.
But I started getting into like, I tapped into a little bit of pop. Like I hate to admit this, but I like the Spice Girls too. You know, whatever.
Spice Girls were great.
But then there was like a shift where I was like, hip hop is what it is. Like Eminem had come out, and that was music that I had never heard.
It's
that
a fucking
was like,
white rapper.
Yeah.
Like everyone's like, what the fuck is this?
But like if you like, you know, rewind it a little bit more, I remember the first time that I heard Nirvana.
Oh yeah, I love Nirvana.
And that was like new music and sound, and it really resonated with us, like me and my brother, because we were young, and it's music that we hadn't heard. Like him yelling in that track was just crazy. He was speaking to youth. You're and like, and yeah, it was just so interesting. And like later on, kind of like when Eminem came out and he was talking about shit that like we were like, whoa, like I wasn't really allowed to listen to Eminem as much, but it was like, oh, this is it, you know what I mean?
It's like that push the envelope, you know what I mean? Like, whoa, this is
yeah, you push that envelope. But you know, Missy Elliott is one that I listened to growing up. There's other ones too.
Legend.
What did you listen to when you were like a teenager?
I told you, like everything, everything. God. So I went through a phase where it was like all hip hop. Like I was like, yo, I'm like into hip hop.
Yeah.
It was like, 50 Cent, fucking Ja Rule.
Oh my God, yeah.
Jay-Z. Like I'm a huge Jay-Z fan. Even if you don't like his music, you gotta respect what he's done as a business person, which is just out of this world.
Which we just had this conversation today. I don't like Jay-Z.
Yeah, she's not Jay, but you gotta respect him for what he has become, where he came from.
Oh yeah, I respect that. I just don't like him.
It's great. No, it's fine. It's fine. Biggie, Tupac, Nas.
Nas, I love Nas.
Was just
so
in the wrong era.
Such a lyricist. Like if you read his lyrics, they're poems.
Oh, they're insane and just like, but like all his shit was like just like Nas. Like I was like, man, like Nas again, underrated for sure.
Outkast.
So
I loved Outkast.
So I was in Outkast, but it was just kind of like they weren't like my first pick, you know. But I liked their music. I liked like hip hop, like Q-Tip, Common, Talib Kweli is probably one of my favorite like lyricists like of all times. Like even like Jay-Z said like something about him, wanting to rap like like Talib Kweli, because they just got like this power and like this voice, and like to me like his music is like phenomenal. Most Def, like there's like real like lyricists like where like they have like a message. They weren't talking about money and fat asses and bitches. You know what I'm saying? Like they were talking about like there's a struggle out here.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like power and like what it is to be a black man, or just like a man like in general, and you know what I'm saying?
I think that's why when it was like the first time that I had ever heard NWA or Ice Cube back in the day, it was so interesting to finally hear that, because I grew up in LA, so a lot of the stuff that they were rapping, I'm living this shit every day. Yeah, like we definitely saw some of that stuff. So listening to them and just how raw it was, and how a lot of people didn't know that was happening was crazy. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, and it's an element. Put this shit out there. It's an element that's missing now from hip hop.
Oh, correct.
Because it was real. It was real stories, and they all lived it. Correct. So I totally understand that.
Correct.
Okay.
And then I went through a phase where like it wasn't about like hip hop and us, but like I love like techno and trance music.
Yeah. So
love it.
There was a period of time when we were growing up, because we're the same age, that techno became the thing. And do you remember like people were having like raves at, like in garages and shit, and then like the like
glow sticks.
Yeah. And that was like the thing. And then ecstasy became a thing.
I've never done ecstasy.
I
want to.
No, we're too old. I had a really interesting young life. Like in my youth, I definitely experimented and stuff.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, like you know what I mean.
But I kind of want to do it just one time.
Whatever, to each his own.
But
I did a lot of fun when I was young, and
I get like panic attacks and stuff.
I
don't know what to expect.
I think like the crazy thing is how long it lasts. And
see, like that's the button. Like, listen, like 30 minutes, I'm good, and after that, fuck out of here.
For me, it's like it has to have a time limit. But I have a really addicted personality, so it's not good.
No. I mean, like, I'm not trying to do like LSD or acid or anything.
No.
Like that. However, I've heard great things. You know what I mean? Like, I feel maybe like if I was more confident in like the health situation, like if I didn't have asthma, like growing up, I'd be like, oh, okay, like I would have totally tried it.
This is what you do when you're young.
Yeah, well, even then, like I was always conscious of like, hey, like I have asthma. You know what I mean? Like I shouldn't be doing this, but
yeah,
you know what I mean? Is it just because I want to do it just to see what the experience is like? Like you know what I'm saying?
Okay. So definitely, techno was an opener for that because I totally
I
remember.
love techno music.
Oh no, but techno music back when we were young and now it's totally different because like now it's like the house, you know, music, and I love all that kind of stuff too. Like me and you will listen to Tomorrowland in the car, and I'm like, oh, I totally want to be there.
I know you totally love it. That has to happen. Like I don't give a fuck if I'm 40, but I have to go to a Tomorrowland and just experience that. But it's you know, like there's like different, you know, there's like house and, you know, like hardcore, like EDC, but like I love stuff that's like atmospheric sounds, like harps and pianos and synthesizers, you know, like Tiesto and Armin van Buuren and God, you know, like, you know, even Steve Aoki is you know, I love great. Martin Garrix. Oh,
that is my favorite. Like, I tell you, like, I wish that if we go to Tomorrowland, he would be love him.
Just an hour and a half of just like pure like
oh my god,
this is
like
amazing.
Crazy. Love that. I think my music taste has evolved a little bit. Like it's just changed. I don't think that there is good music currently. Like I loved hip hop.
It's very rare.
Yeah, I loved hip hop, you know, growing up, like when I was a teenager and stuff. I don't think that there's really good hip hop music now. Ironically, you were a big Mac Miller fan, and I didn't like him.
Correct.
I listened to him when I was young, and this is like way back. I don't even remember how young I was, but I listened to a song. It was How High or whatever, and he's singing, like he's rapping with another guy, and I didn't like it. I was like, oh God, this guy. Like another Vanilla Ice.
Yeah.
It just wasn't my thing. It was like this white guy trying to be a rapper. I didn't know too much about him, so it wasn't my thing.
Another Vanilla Ice.
Yeah. And then I listened to another song, Best Day Ever. And that also was not my cup of tea.
It's actually one of my favorite songs ever.
I didn't like it. And then I hate to admit this, but when he died, you kind of like talked to me about it because you're a huge Mac Miller fan.
Oh, for sure.
And like, you know what I mean? I always have a lot of empathy for people that die young and people that do drugs. You know, I definitely understand that. And, you know, I have empathy for that. So I was like, let me check out his music. And I kind of beat myself up that I didn't give him a chance, you know, when he was alive, because besides the music that he had when he was starting over, like when he was starting, he has some amazing music, and he's one of those artists that I listen to all the time now. Like he's definitely like my number one now.
He hit the top 5 list.
Yeah, like definitely. Like he's one of those people that I listen to all the time. But it's like right around when he dropped Faces. Like that, you know, and that's his mixtape. It wasn't even like an album that he released. When I tell you that I listened to that and I was just like, oh my God, like I love it. And I think it's just because I understand that. Like he's made me feel things that I've lived in my personal life. So I get it, and he takes me back to those times. And I'm just one of those fortunate people that made it through that. You know what I mean? Of course. I understand his feelings. When I listen to Swimming, it's a masterpiece for me. I think it's better than I think that it's better than Circles. Although I do like Circles a lot. It's I've been listening to it, and I have to listen to the words, and I feel what he's, you know, feeling at that time. You have to be in a mood to listen to that.
Great.
But Swimming, funny, I listen to Come Back to Earth all the time.
Really?
All the time. Almost daily.
No shit.
Yeah. I listen to that almost daily.
What are the odds of that?
Yeah.
Look at that. I haven't listened to like his new album yet. Mm-hmm. I know you kind of played it like in the car. But I haven't been able to focus on it, and I haven't had the urge to want to listen to it. It's
I did because I love swimming. So, you know, to hear that he was going to make another album following that, and it was going to be the concept, which is funny because the last song on Swimming, he makes a reference of circles. So it's swimming back in circles. I thought it was going to go a different direction, but hey, like I still see like the artist and how he was evolving in his craft, and then you're left with this sour taste of what could have been.
Yeah.
And I'm really drawn to artists like that. Amy Winehouse was another artist that I absolutely loved. I loved her in life, though. Like, when people would make fun of me, like, why do you listen to her? I thought she was a phenomenal singer. Amazing.
So like I never got into Amy Winehouse before she passed away. And I was, again, I think just like at that time I wasn't in like that style of like music.
Mm-hmm.
However, like I did appreciate her voice. I was like, man, like this woman has
Amazing.
has such like an amazing voice. And like I'm big on like female artists, whether it's like hip hop or ambiance or singing or trance or something, like, and like their voices, like it's just something about like the voice, and she just had such a great voice. I never got into her music until you were you know, kind of like, oh man, Amy Winehouse and Battery is like my favorite song. I was like, well, I never heard the song, and I was like, wow, what a fucking fantastic fucking song like this is. And then like I started to like appreciate like what she did, but like she just had like just I forgot what the song was, but it was like very mainstream. They played it on like
Rehab.
Yeah.
You gotta go to rehab.
Yeah, no. And I was like, like I'm totally not into this mainstream cookie cutter style of fucking
She
music.
has an amazing song with Nas. Like, actually, I never knew this, but until like after she died, but she was actually a really good close friend with Nas.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, so they have like a really good song together. I noticed that I gravitate towards artists that like have addictions because I love. I don't know why.
Oh, you're crackhead.
I love your music.
Yeah.
Lana Del Rey.
Lana Del Rey. Yeah.
Yeah, she's
Her voice is
another.
fucking
Oh my God, I love her.
Killer.
And
Just
she was
don't
another
kill yourself for Lana
person.
Del Rey, please.
No, definitely not. I start loving an artist and then they die. Jenny Rivera.
I need you to stop loving people.
I know. I didn't
Don't
like
love me
her
as much.
music, but she had a TV show and I loved it. And
the TV show was fucking epic.
I used to watch it with you, and now she's like, she's gonna be the Spanish Kim not Kim Kardashian, but the Kardashians, and then she died. And I'm like, what the fuck?
This is good fucking content, horseshit.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. In another life, I should have probably been a singer because I appreciate music, in all that it is, in every genre. Except I can listen to country, but not like in the car.
There is. I can't put country on myself, but I, you know, if I'm in a friend's car and they have country, and I'm like, this isn't bad. You know what I mean? Yeah, correct. You know what I mean? But one thing I noticed that they're weak, depressed fucking guys. Like, oh my God, get over it. Like,
well,
fucking, where's your fucking balls?
No,
bro?
I think it's okay to show like you're a little vulnerable.
But
as a man,
fucking song, it's like,
and you know what?
She left me, and I'm sad. I'm drinking, and I'm gonna beat my meat. And it's like, oh,
women dig that though, that sensitivity in a man. So it kind of like it could be, you know, to your advantage.
Listen, if I was that much of a fucking pussy, would you have been with me for 9 years? You're like, oh, this guy's buddy, where's your fucking balls? Like, that's what you did. Like the same thing with like Latino men in their music, and they're all sad. Oh my God, you left me.
Yeah, that brings me
my
to
best friend.
I loved bachata for a period of time. Romeo Santos. Oh my God,
you fucking fag.
He is not.
He's a fucking pussy.
Jealous.
No, I'm not jealous. He's just fucking stupid. Like, buddy, there's so much toto out there in the world. Just fine. Stop.
Well, I told you that I was listening to one of his songs the other day, and I was like, man, this is kind of like assault. He's talking about like going into a girl's like window and making her his.
Yes, it's like seriously, get the fuck.
And I was like, oh,
psychotic.
But then we also talked about that Michael Jackson song, "Smooth Criminal."
Yeah.
And he's talking about a murder. Like,
Annie, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm like, he's talking about like a woman that got murdered in her room. And then all these theories, you know, it doesn't help that I listen to podcasts, but I'm like, how did he come up with this theory? Who does he know? Who's Ann?
Brittany from Crime Investigators is going to, how did you know her?
Right?
Was it you that killed her, Michael?
Cold case.
That's crazy.
We'll probably have to do another one of these. There's so much more that we want to talk about, but tell us about your favorite artists. You know,
yeah, let us know who you like, who you listen to, what really kind of gets you going, what has taken you out of a bad situation back to a good situation. And if you're not in that situation, just let us know who you'd like to listen to, man. But appreciate you guys listening. And if you like the same genre of music that we listen to, hit the like button.
And subscribe,
You
please.
guys have a great night. Enjoy your weekends.
Bye.
Peace.